So in this video, I want to talk about adjusting a rental binding to the physical dimensions of the boot. And we're going to cover a couple different bindings. Different bindings have different mechanisms to adjust the binding forward and backward for the different sizing of the boots, but the concepts are all the same. That's the important part, is the concepts are all the same. So here we go. So the first thing we need to do is determine the boot sole length in millimeters. And that's always engraved or molded into the boot somewhere back on the heel, either on the inside or the side over here. And on many rental boots, you'll find it somewhere maybe on the back of the boot. So from there, we want to, this happens to be 314 millimeters. And from there, we want to adjust the toe piece to in that group. So 314 lies between 308 and 319. And to adjust this toe piece, we're going to come up here, you just move this out, slide the binding forward and backward till it goes in that groove. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is adjust the heel piece. And essentially we're going to take this arrow and get it as close to 314 millimeters as we can, and it happens to be on it right now. So that's done. We're going to put the boot in the binding. And when I put the boot in the binding, if I just push like this, it can be rather hard, especially if you don't weigh very much. So what I'll do is lift up on this as I push down on the boot. So the next thing we're going to do is adjust the toe piece to the boot sole length. And we want to look here. Most rental bindings will have a little range of boot sole lengths. Ours is 314, which lies right between 308 and 319. Now to adjust that, I come up here and pull this lever, and it unlatches it and allows me to move it back and forth. So click it in, and then back here you can see it reads there. Now we're going to take we come back to the same color group. This happens to be the orange color group right there, and ours is 314, halfway between 312 and 316. So I'm going to put it on 312 right there. That's white arrow adjacent to the 312. Now, then I'm going to put the boot in the binding, and then I'm going to look into the window back here. So what we're looking for is this silver metal tab within this window somewhere when the boot is in the binding. You can see that metal tab in there. That shows proper forward pressure. So now this is adjusted to 316. Our boot sole length is 314, halfway between 12 and 16. And let's see what happens when we put the boot in the binding now. It fits. It appears to fit just fine, but we need to look in the window and see if that metal tab is showing, and it's not showing. So we know we have either too much forward pressure or not enough. Okay, so now we have a different Solomon binding, and the indicator for boot sole length is right here. And again, we need to get this to be in the range of 314, and similar type of latch here. Pull it that direction, move it so this group is within 314. That happens to be right there. This says 308 to 320. Look carefully. All right, and then there aren't those nice indicators on the other Solomon binding. So here, what we're going to do is set the boot in the binding, pull up on the latch, and just push the binding forward so it meets the back of the heel. And then from there, we'll push in and look for that metal tab inside the binding. You may not see it on the video, but I can see it here. So that indicates proper forward pressure. Again, if you were not seeing that metal tab inside that housing, we either want to move the binding forward or backward. That metal tab is the final indicator of proper forward pressure on the binding. The binding should squeeze the boot a little bit. Okay, so here we have a Marker Junior binding, and it operates totally different from the Solomon, but again, the principles are the same. Our boot sole length is 270 millimeters, And so the way to adjust this binding is by pushing this safety latch down first. That's right there, that black little tab right's going down. And then once it's down, I can slide this metal piece over. And from there, I can slide it back so that that 270, click right there. So that's in basically 270. So from there, I want to reach back here and lift this tab up. And that unlatches the heel and allows me to slide it forward and backward. And what I'm looking for ultimately is that black pointer between our boot sole is 270, which lies between 266 and 273, which is that line right there. So click, that should be the proper forward pressure. Now I'm going to put the boot in the binding, and then the forward pressure indicator on this particular binding is, if you look very carefully, there is a metal line engraved into that tab back there, and that line should appear in this little window here, that window right there. I don't know if we can see that on the video. Great, I think we can. But that indicates proper forward pressure. Now I'm going to show you, well, not enough proper forward pressure and what that looks like. I'm going to slide it back one notch, put the boot into the binding. Now there's the line, and it's not within the window. You don't see it when you look from the side in the window. So that would need more forward pressure. Now I'm going to put too much forward pressure into the binding. I'm going to move this binding two notches forward and put the boot in. First of all, the dead giveaway is the fact that the heel really isn't settling into the binding here. It's kind of up like this. That's kind of a dead giveaway. And then now if we look at our tab back here, the line is well forward of that window. So here we have an adult marker speed point binding. And the way this one works is with a dial. First of all, we just want to release the safety catch there, and then dial in right here the length of the boot. So again, we're going back to our adult boot, which is 314. It doesn't offer us a 314, it offers us a 16 and a 12. And we want to line one of those up with this little notch right there. So I'm going to put it on 12 and lock it into place, and then I'm going to put the boot in the binding. And again, I want to look for proper forward pressure. And on this particular, the indicator is this arrow here. This whitish arrow, and essentially, when this is showing not enough forward pressure. So I'm going to readjust this binding to unlock it, dial it in. Now we're going to 308, even though our boot sole is 314. But ultimately, this is the final indicator of the proper adjustment for the binding. The indicator is the forward pressure indicator. So now here, you can see that arrow is slightly tucked up underneath. Pull back around this way. That arrow is slightly tucked up underneath the housing here. So the back part is peeking out, but the front part is tucked up underneath. That shows proper forward pressure on this particular marker binding. So to adjust the toe on this particular binding, it's this little lever right here. And essentially, this is locked position. And then we're going to pull it that direction, which unlocks it completely, and I can move the toe forward and backward. And I want to do that so that indicator on the boot is, the midsole indicator is over the midsole mark on the ski. I'll move the toe forward and backward to wherever I think that needs to go, and those two line up. I have to get down nice and low to see that. And then from there, when I adjust the heel piece, I'm just going to come up, lift this up with my finger, jam the heel of the binding up against the heel of the boot here. Most likely that is the correct spot. Push the boot in, and then again look for that forward pressure indicator. So here we can see the black line within that white area inside this little window here. And that's the indicator of proper forward pressure on this particular Rosginol binding. So those are just a few of the bindings we have here at Helm. I think we went over about 5 of them. There are a few more. But the important thing here is to get the concept of proper forward pressure, the concept of looking for some type of forward pressure indicator. That's the key thing here. And being able to adjust the binding. All bindings may have a little bit different knob or a little bit different dial to be able to adjust for the physical dimensions, but the principles are essentially the same. And it's very important for you to come out and practice with bindings in the beginning of the year so that you can look professional in front of the customer and really know how to do it. That's very important, that you know how to do it and you're fully confident on how to do it. All right? And so if you have any questions, ask Steve, ask myself, ask someone else who knows how to do it. All right? Thanks. Bye.